This is AndyTube. This video I'm going to show you how I try to quiet down a hook and a bobbin case on a Singer slant needle machine. This is a Singer model 404 that I recently did a video on about a way to clean it without removing so many parts. And I did a test sewing of it afterwards in the video and so forth, and I've been in communication with the buyer about it. So I was just kind of checking it over and stuff in preparation of I'll probably be shipping it before too long. And it just seemed like when I was sewing that the hook bobbin case area, like it was just noisy to me. And I know that is sometimes hard to tell in a video. And so I've been working on it a little bit, and I thought I would tell you what I did to try and quiet down a noisy hook and bobbin case in this area. And I did find a problem. So I'm gonna go ahead, let's see, I'm gonna move this take up needle to the down position, and I'm just going to go ahead and remove the needle plate so there's a little more clear view of stuff down here. Okay, and I'm going to take out the bobbin in the machine, and I want to remove the bobbin case here. And on this particular model, there's a bobbin case positioning bracket that you lift up a little bit and you slide over away from the bobbin case, and now you can just move the bobbin case over and take it out. Okay, and during the cleaning and oiling, there's a hole. Let's see if I can do anything with the lighting here. There's a hole right here in the center of the base of the hook, right there. And I'll tell you a good story about that in a little bit. But in the oiling instructions, it does show to put a drop of oil in there. Okay, and of course I did that after I washed and dried the machine and everything. I really kind of over oil everything to try and fill the machine full of oil. And if a little bit oozes out, then I clean it up. But I did do that, and I did everything I was supposed to and stuff. But it just seemed a little bit noisy. So I tried to see, is it my bobbin case? Is it the hook? What's going on? And I got to looking down in that hole, and I could still see the oil that I put in. And I mean, I put in like 2 or 3 drops before, you know, and ran the machine, and then I put in a couple more drops, and I had like oil right to the brim here, which is unusual. So I did a test and ran a test and checked the noise and stuff, and it seemed noisy to me. So I took some pipe cleaners, and I got in there and I used it to wick out as much oil as I could. You know, I'd soak up the oil and cut off a ½ inch and soak it up until I wasn't getting any more oil. Okay, and then I took my crud cutter cleaner and degreaser, and I put some in one of my little drip bottles, and I put just a drop of that cleaner into the hole, nice big fat drop, and I let it sit in there for a while, and I ran the machine for a while, you know, and it just sat there. The drop didn't go in, it didn't go anywhere. I said, okay, so I got my hair dryer and I started heating up the area and just running it real slow, and I'd check. And finally, when I was looking at it one time, I could see that drop just disappear, whoop, right down the hole. I said, oh, okay, yay. And I checked it with a pipe cleaner, you know, and it came back out dry. Great. So what I had is a blockage in here that even though I had cleaned the machine and everything, it was probably full of little micro particles of lint, and it clogged up what I call a weep hole or seep hole, and the oil couldn't get through. So now that I cleared that with the crud cutter, then I took some drops of just 50% rubbing alcohol and put that in there and ran it, and I would kind of overflow it with alcohol and wick it back out, and I did that 3 or 4 times to try and remove as much of the crud cutter as I could. And now I'm at the point that I'm going to put oil back in. And that's when I thought, oh, you know, I should have been filming this. I should do a little video on this, because I do get emails of complaints of a noisy bobbin case and noisy hook and what's going on. You know, what can they do to fix it? So I said, hey. So you didn't get to see me do what I just described, but that's what I did. And I want to explain about this hole in the hook. Okay, so I have a hook from another slant needle machine. It's the same type of hook and everything. And as I said, the instruction manual says put oil in here. And I always wondered why. In the past, I wondered, like, why? There's the bobbin case doesn't touch this. The bottom of the bobbin doesn't touch it. Why the heck do I need oil in there? Then I would probe in there with like a needle or a pin, and I think, well, this doesn't go anywhere. You know, it's like not even of a 1/4 inch deep. What's the big deal? So honestly, most of the time I didn't put oil in it. And a longtime viewer, Carol Magnuson, caught me in one of the other videos about here's where you oil, and I didn't oil it, and she wrote to me and said, hey, I noticed you didn't oil that, but my manual says to oil that. What's going on? And so listen to me, Mr. Arrogant. I told her, I said, I think that's just some of these old manuals, you know, maybe some real old machines, but I explained about, look, put a needle in there, you see it doesn't go anywhere. You know what, there's no reason to oil it, right? How arrogant was Andy Tube to think he knows better than a Singer engineer? But she accepted, you know, she trusted me and was like, okay. And it wasn't long after that I actually pulled a hook out of a machine, and I was cleaning it and stuff, and I saw, where is it here? I saw this little square cut and a hole. You see that? I said, hey, what? Maybe that's why I have a noisy hook. What is that, a defect or something? What's going on with that? And I looked at it and I said, wow, it goes in there pretty far. What? There's no hole in this. What? And it dawned on me, okay, I am supposed to put oil here, and it goes into the top, and then it weeps out this little hole in the side of the hook shaft. Because where this fits in the machine, it goes through a bushing that needs oil for this when it spins. Right? So, you know, these other shafts, now this really is the hook shaft, right? It's the shaft on the hook. The other shafts on the machine. Oops, let me close this. I've shown you all how you oil those. You know, this is the oil port for the top bushing on the vertical shaft. Here's the oil port for the bottom bushing on the vertical shaft. Here's the oil port for the right side bushing on the hook drive shaft. And here's the port for the left side bushing on the hook drive shaft, right? And you're right, this hole in the center of the hook is the oil port for the hook shaft bushing. Let me show you here on the bottom real quick. Okay. And those bushings I just talked about, you know, like this piece of aluminum casting, you see this set screw, it's holding a bronze bushing in here that this hook drive shaft goes through. So that place up on the top where I said you oil, you see this little round part, it comes down and it gets oil into this bushing for that shaft. And the same thing over here, inside here, that top hole allows oil to go into a bushing here. And this is the bottom of the hook shaft. And it's very hard to see, but up in here, as it goes through the body, there's the bronze bushing for this shaft. See, we're looking right at the end of that hook shaft. Okay. So anyway, on that particular machine, I couldn't wait to put it back together and put oil there, and it did quiet down my noise problem. So I immediately emailed to Carol and said, hey, I messed up. I totally misunderstood this, and I explained. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can, if I put a couple drops in here, maybe we can see it come out. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see that. See, it's kind of hard to see through the camera too, but yep, there it came out. I don't know if that showed, but it came right out. See, and that weeps into the bronze bearing and lubricates it. So I'm thinking that is why my hook was noisy, or at least part of it. So I'm at the spot right now where I think I've got the blockage out by using the cud crutter, and I cleaned that out as best as I could with alcohol, and cleaned the alcohol out as best as I could. And actually I found a little noise meter. See if that's going to show up. Is this as bright as I can make it? Yeah. And you can see that needle moving as I talk there, and then it gives a reading up here in decibel right there. So let me just kind of hold it here and run it. So I'm getting about 70 to 71 dB of noise. So I've never done this before, so I'm interested to see if I'll be able to measure any noise. Now remember, I've got the bobbin case out right now, which also adds noise. So I'm filling that hole with oil, and I'm just going to run it slow like this for a minute or two to try and distribute that oil. and then I'll come back. Okay, I can tell that the oil level dropped a little bit now after doing this. Is this actually? Yeah. And there's not a lot of room around that shaft, in between the shaft and the bushing. There's not much space. I mean, the clearance is very tight. So that's why they just say kind of put a drop of oil in there. But the oil went down. So I'm just curious now as if I'm actually going to measure any difference with this noise meter. Nope, not really. Darn, that's disappointing. So it's still measured right about 70. Shoot. Okay. But at least I know now I've got oil on that bronze bushing in there. Right? Okay. Now I want to put the bobbin case back in the machine and run it and get a noise reading on that. So I have that pulled back. I'm going to drop my bobbin case in and swing it left, and there we go. Make sure it's seated well. Okay, then just for the heck of it, I'm going to measure that. Whoops. Measure that noise level. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit more noise with the bobbin case in there, which I would expect. I got jumps to between 72 and 74, and you get a little rattling. And then if I was actually sewing, you can get more noise, okay? And that can have to do with the space between the heel of the bobbin case and the little spring on the positioning bracket. Should have a clearance, like on this machine, of 0.12 to 0.14 inch. Just a little tiny gap there for the thread to slip through. And if it's too close there, the thread hangs up. If it's too far, the bobbin case bounces back and forth like that, and you get that snappy noise when you're sewing. Now I've got a video about setting the thread clearance, is what it's called, and I'll put a link to it at the end of this video and in the description below. So you may have some noise from that if that is too far apart. Okay. But the other thing that I wanted to show you, if you haven't seen this before on my channel, where's my other bobbin case? Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. So I have my hook again, and I want to talk about the race. You see this little shelf? Not the top of this round circle, but just inside of it is this little tiny 1/16 of an inch shelf. It's a little bit lower, and it's called the race. And on the bobbin case are slots and ridges that go over that race. You know, when I put it in and then I moved it to the left, I'm positioning the bobbin case with that race right inside here. And then it comes over on this shelf and rests, and then back into the slot. So that sitting on there, that's what supports the bobbin case. Because although your hook is you know, rotating like crazy, 2 revolutions per stitch, The bobbin case doesn't rotate. The bobbin case just sits there. But the hook and the hook race support the bobbin case. But it's a metal to metal. You know, it's a metal on metal. So you need oil. That's what I'm getting at here. Also, you can take this out and you'd be surprised how much gunk gets in here from thread particles and stuff, and oil buildup. So you can always clean that. You know, brush it with alcohol and a toothbrush and scrape it out with a wood toothpick or plastic, you know. But I'll show you how Singer says to oil that here is to come in just to the right of this spring. Just to the right of this spring. Here's the, man, it's dark. Let's see if this helps here. To the right of that spring, there's a little kind of elbow, I guess, or something that sticks out. And then you have your finger lift where you hook your finger on that little slanted edge to lift it up. And between there's like a little square of open space, and they tell you to put a drop of oil right there in that space. That's where you oil it. Now personally, if that's a hassle, you can just put it right over here, in my opinion. I hope I'm not being arrogant again. But, you know, on the edge of the race and the bobbin case. And it seems to seep in there just fine. And normally, you just need the one drop, you know, is going to do it. Is normally all you need. Wish I had a bigger camera. I just come right there and put a drop. Okay. And I've also just come over here and put a drop right on the edge. And then I usually rotate the hand wheel by hand at first, you know, to turn, just get the hook moving there a little bit, right? And that's how you would oil that. And they never, you know, Singer never says a definite oiling period. Some people would oil that every time they were going to start a project, right? Some people would oil it, say, oh, I've been sewing 4 or 5 hours, I'll put a drop there. Some people can just tell by their ear. Like, I'm getting pretty good at just hearing the noise. Like I said, when I was test sewing, I was telling myself, oh, that hook or bobbin case is a little bit noisy. You know, I better check that out before I ship it. So, but a lot of people don't even know. When I say to them, when's the last time you oiled the bobbin case? And they'll email back, what are you talking about, oil the bobbin case? You know? So I'll refer them to a place in one of my videos where I do that, and they say, oh, I've never done that. So they take the bobbin case out and clean it and put it back in and oil it, and they say, wow, it's so quiet. So, okay, let's go ahead and run now with my meter again. See if it makes any quieter here. Can't really. Let me see. Let me get this back here. I should put it back into the position where it was in when I measured the noise before, so we get the same kind of thing there.
Okay.
Nope, I don't want you. The phone talks to me all the time because I don't know what I'm doing with it. Okay, I think I've got that About the same spot here now. So I'm getting a fluctuation now of like 68 to 70, where before I was hitting little bumps of, what'd I say, 72 to 74. So you can see it did quiet it down a little bit. And that's what we want. Not only we don't want, you know, a bunch of unnecessary noise when we're sewing, but we want a smooth operation of all of these parts on the machine. And anytime you have metal on metal, you know, on a machine like this, there should be some kind of lubrication, like grease on the gear, or oil in the bushing, or any place that the metal parts actually, what's wrong here, actually, you know, rub metal on metal to prevent wear. There we go. All right. Okay, that's all. That's all I wanted to show you in this video. Was just even if you're not having noise, you should put a drop of oil into that hook location, and you should put a drop of oil on the race of the hook where it meets the bobbin case, so that it'll rotate and spread it around, just to have smooth operation and to prevent any wear and tear. Right? Okay. That was a weird little video, huh? But thanks for tuning in. Just had a little time today. I'm feeling pretty good, and it's 70 degrees, and the sun is shining in the middle of February here, and I got my first COVID vaccine on Valentine's Day, the first dose. So I feel very fortunate for that. And I hope you're all being safe, and that you all show love and compassion and care to the people in your life, because they're very valuable. See you next time.